in a headlock. And never mind. I used to start by doing that type of thing until I think I went a little too far on something. I don't remember what it was, but no, not I. I am a model of self-restraint.
How do you say it? White creme?
Creme de menthe.
Creme de menthe?
White.
Creme de
De
menthe.
menthe.
Creme de menthe.
Hmm.
I'm going to screw this up. Creme de menthe. Creme de menthe. All right.
All right.
Ready to go?
Yep.
Ready when you are.
All right. Here we go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Drink in the Style right here on AM 950 or possibly a podcast. I have no idea what you're doing, but I'm glad you've brought us with you. Host Gregory Rich, and I'm going to be helping you kill about another hour with some drinks and conversation. We are joined today. Well, I should say, actually, the theme today, I like this, is fire. Fire is the theme. And we are joined by none other than Bonnie Hancock and Joe Weyandt from All Seasons Fire in Golden Valley, correct? Or Minnetonka?
St. Louis
St.
Park.
Louis Park. Oh, all right. I'm still going to talk to you. I'm not a fan of St. Louis Park. Nevertheless, welcome to the show, Bonnie. Welcome. Joe, welcome as well.
Thank you.
Thank
you, Greg.
You're very
Should I
welcome.
respond?
That's okay. They can see a nod. It's ESP radio. No, this is going to be a great show because you know what? Fireplaces are really important in home design. I think that there is something absolutely primordial about, well, there is something primordial about fire. And when you're talking about a home and especially as we're in the midst of winter and Christmas season, it so often revolves around, well, hearth and home, I guess. Correct?
Yeah, the fireplace should be the center of the home. It's basically how it should be, but today the TV has become the center of the home.
It's true, but it's a passing phase because you know what? My kids watch everything on their tablets, on their screens and things. The large TV and the family gathering around no longer is the norm. So it's prime for a fireplace to become again. For example, this very Christmas, I had my two daughters and their two cousins over, and my wife, of course, and things. And I look over after Christmas dinner, and everybody is sitting in the living room around the fireplace, even though they're all looking at their own phones. At least they're physically in proximity, correct? So wonderful. So this is going to be a good conversation because there are a lot of things that have happened in the fireplace industry. There's some really cool things that you guys are doing, and I can't wait to get into it. Coctology is being provided by none other than Habitation's own Jackie Taylor. Hi, Jackie. How was your Christmas?
My Christmas is great.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
And I can see that you are champing at the bit to make a cocktail because I know
Yes.
you love doing this.
It's one of my favorite things. Just kidding.
The enthusiasm is overwhelming. What is it that we're making?
We are going to be sipping on a Monte Carlo Imperial.
Monte
show.
Carlo Imperial. Now, I provided this drink to you because I made these at a holiday party that we had a couple of weeks ago. And I got this out of my 1958 Esquire party book. So this is a lost cocktail that we are revitalizing here.
We're
correct?
going to try to.
I love the confidence. All right.
All right.
Johnson, you're going to hit our mixing music. And Jackie, take us
Are
away.
we ready? All right. So I am going to mix 2 ounces of gin, which I have here.
Okay. And it's a dry gin. It's
A
gotta be
dry gin. It has to be dry.
Mhm.
Don't know why, but that's what the recipe calls for.
Flavor balance.
Okay. And then a 1/2 ounce of creme de menthe.
Creme de menthe.
Did I screw that up?
You did
Probably
not.
did.
And it
Okay.
must be white creme de menthe.
White creme de menthe.
Do not try that god awful green stuff that has the food coloring and extra sugar in it.
No,
there's
sugar's
a
not good.
difference. I didn't know that.
There
Yeah,
is.
so
If I
white
would've-
So
creme de
this
menthe.
is not the stuff you use to make a
grasshopper.
grasshopper. Okay.
Correct. This is technically the same thing, but without the food coloring. But the food coloring changes it somehow. I don't know how.
Ah.
All right.
All right, so you're going to mix those two with a quarter of a lemon.
Okay.
So squeeze that into your little martini shaker.
Fabulous. And again, and the ratios are 2 ounces of dry gin and a half an ounce of creme de menthe.
White creme de menthe
Well done. Top notch.
with the quarter of lemon juice or lemon wedge squeeze.
Fabulous.
There you go.
Which
And then
brightens it up, kind of brings all the flavors to the forefront.
shake it. Make sure it gets nice and cold and mixed up. And then you're going to pour it over ice.
And we're using a rocks glass.
Yes, we are. I've garnished it with a lemon wedge.
Which is nice. Did you squeeze a little lemon in it as well?
I did not.
Okay. I would recommend, guys,
you
when
like-
you
well,
have the drink, do a little squeeze in.
Do a little squeeze. And then you're going to want to top it off with some sparkling wine, Prosecco or champagne.
And that is the secret ingredient. That
No,
is
chilled dry champagne. You want the dry stuff.
Mm.
It's all about dry. Frankly, this is barely a drink. It's so dry. Just kidding. Was that not good?
And I will give Bonnie the first glass.
Awesome. And then you're going to give it just a little stir to kind of bring it together a bit.
Ooh, there it goes over the rim.
Over enthusiastic. All right.
Hmm.
And we're ready to go. And Johnson,
There
you're
you
going to have
go.
one, right? Shout from the corner.
Yeah, I will bring them on over to you guys.
Great. Are you guys general fans of the drinking class? Do you
Thank you.
have preferred cocktails that you make?
I'm not a big cocktail guy,
Okay.
yes, but in the last couple of winters, I've started to recognize the value of rye. So I've been a rye guy for the last couple of years.
We did. Last week we did
Mm.
some Dickel rye. What was the cocktail that we made? Do you remember?
Was it an old fashioned?
It was. It was a winter old fashioned. That was very, very good. Again, we're gonna have to remember to put out our latest cocktail book this season, so it's on its way.
And in the summer, we do like the New York Times gin tonic recipe. If
What's
you've
the New
never
York
had
Times gin
that,
and tonic recipe?
it was a number of years ago. It was published in the New York Times, but you mull the limes and in a pitcher,
Okay.
and then you with ice, and then just pour in a half a bottle of gin and a liter of tonic water, and
And you're in business.
you're in business.
It's a gin and tonic punch.
Yes.
Oh, I like that. We have an idea now for the summer.
Out on your
show.
patio down here with the creek running by.
And a beautiful fireplace, no
Mm,
doubt.
Exactly.
With the dogs.
All right, Johnson, prepare our drinking or our swallowing music.
Oh,
let's try
Shoot,
this.
I missed this
Is it a little too sweet?
No, it's
All right.
really good. What do you
It's very-
think, honestly?
It's good.
Quite nice.
Right?
Yeah.
What's nice is you can batch these ahead of time. So you put together the gin, the lemon, and the creme de menthe, and that can sit separately. And then you just top it off with the champagne once you pour it. So highly recommended. Awesome. All right. Well, we're well on our way to a bit of inebriation. Let's talk about fireplaces. So, Bonnie, why don't you introduce us to All Seasons and a little bit of a background on your company?
Oh, Joe should be the one to do this.
Joe, why don't you introduce us to All
Okay,
Seasons?
I'll do it. Sure,
Okay.
Sure. Well, we've been doing this for quite some time. I actually started out in the business working for the local gas utility.
Really?
Yeah, and I worked there for 13 years in various capacities. I was a salesman for a while, and then I worked in sales management, and then I worked in a marketing position. But I loved fireplaces. It was a way that I kind of got my foot in the door there,
Mhm.
and something that I always loved about it compared to, the other products I sold were water heaters and furnaces, things that people
Considerably
don't
less
get
sexy.
very excited about buying. Whereas with fireplaces, it was something that people really got jazzed about. So it was, I always loved fireplaces for that reason.
Mhm.
And at a certain point, we had the opportunity to jump in and do it on our own. We've been doing it for about 20 years now, on our own as All Seasons Fireplace. And we've just tried to take a little bit different approach. It's a specialty market. Our biggest competitor, though, is, they're they're large, but they're just trying to sell equipment. And we've tried to take a little bit more specialized approach to the business.
And you guys do. I mean, there are critical parts about, fireplace, everything from placement to, I presume, the amount of heat that is generally put out.
Mhm.
Let's talk about the different types of fireplaces. So you've got gas, electric, and wood burning, correct?
Those are our main categories. There's also pellet out in the marketplace, which we've kind of stayed away from that side of the business. It's more of a rural product.
Okay.
But yeah, gas, wood burning, and electric are the primary fuel types.
Which is most popular at this point?
Oh, certainly gas,
Okay.
especially in our area of the world. Wood burning it's kind of the core of the business,
Mhm.
but for most people, gas seems to be the way to go. And simply because you're going to use it so much more often. And
Mhm.
people, they love their gas fireplaces and they use them every day. But you do, and lately we've been running into more people who they want that wood burning experience, and but you can tell right away if someone's a wood burning person.
Can you?
Oh,
Mhm.
certainly.
How?
They're excited. It's what they want, and they won't even consider anything else.
I full disclosure, I am one of those
Mhm.
people. When we built our house back in 08,
Mhm.
incidentally, so I built a spec home in 2008, right before the real estate market crashed. I bought the district in 2020, right before we went into COVID shutdown.
Good
So
timing.
if you'd like to
Craig.
know if a disaster is on the way, just see if I'm thinking about buying anything. But when we built the house, I insisted on a wood burning fireplace, and the architect/builder, I mean, he tried really hard to persuade me against it. He's like, you got to bring the wood up, you got to shovel it out. And I'm like, but there's still no substitute within a living room in my mind for that snapping and the crackling and the smell. And, if your eyes aren't watering from the smoke that sneaks out every now and then, it's not the holidays. Thank you. But gas works beautifully, of course, in other locations. And the flick of a switch. I mean, I know a lot of people do gas like in the bedroom for that type of thing. Are you finding multiple fireplaces in homes much?
Yeah, we do a lot of multiple fireplaces, and also outdoors is another thing that a lot of people now will go to the outdoors with their wood burning product,
Mhm.
because the new homes, it tends to be a little bit more complex to put a wood burning product in there, because then you have to add additional makeup air and all this other fun stuff.
Is that the case? I mean, are
Yeah,
the
they're
codes
too
causing
tight.
problems now?
Mhm.
for
Certainly. It's an exhaust only appliance, so it's taking air out of the house. So the air it's taking out of the house has to be replaced.
Interesting.
And the structures are so tight that there isn't just natural leakage into the home.
Right. Oh, that's really fascinating. So now, I mean, is that something, how do you guys manage that on a new house? Is it just a matter of the builder has to know?
The builder has to know, and he needs to know, how much makeup air he has to have. And there's different ways that we can achieve that.
Okay.
So,
And is that the same with electric and gas, or are they exempt?
electric uses no room air at all. It's basically just a light show,
Mhm.
as it were. So there's
Right.
really nothing, there is no vent.
Mhm.
So there's no need to worry about. And gas, for the most part, is what we call direct vent or sealed combustion,
Okay.
meaning that all the air that it uses comes from outside.
Okay.
So as such, the inner envelope is not affected by the use of the gas appliance.
Probably another reason the builder really wanted me to use gas instead of firewood, if you stop and think about it.
Yep.
All right. So, by the way, you mentioned, so electric are still basically a light show, correct?
Correct.
Are there new things that they're doing with it? I mean, I remember back in the 60s, 70s, you'd have literally like a fake fireplace in New York that had essentially a light bulb
Mhm.
behind it. Have they progressed?
They
They're
have.
much better now.
Are they?
We have one that has the crackling that you'd want,
Okay.
Mhm.
a Dimplex model, and they have multiple sided electric fireplaces now.
Okay.
Water
Does it-
vapor is a
Water
new thing that's
vapor,
being
which
used
is
now, where the water
three-dimensional.
vapor light comes up through the water vapor, and it mimics the look of a flame.
Okay.
So that's kind of a cool thing.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Is that how new is that on the market?
It's been around for a few years, and it's gaining
Popularity.
It's expensive, but it's something that we'll use, especially for commercial applications
Mhm.
where they don't want to have to deal with heat or those other
Mhm.
things that come along with a
Well, that does make sense.
fireplace.
Do you guys have those on display in your showroom in
Certainly, yes, we do.
St. Louis Park?
we
Sorry.
just displayed
Gee.
them at the AIA show, the architect show in Minneapolis at the convention center, and it was
It was
quite
quite a
popular.
hit.
Yeah.
I would bet so. But it's like twice as expensive as gas, 3 times.
The material, the initial unit price is probably a 1.5 times more than a gas, but there's less to installing it. So you save on those other things pertaining to running a gas line or getting a vent through a roof.
Okay.
So ultimately it may be less than the gas unit in the end,
Great.
but it doesn't produce heat. It's not a fire.
purely visual.
Yes.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
nevertheless, that's what I'm sure a lot of people are looking for. Jackie, let me ask you. You're in from Oregon. You just moved to Minnesota. You're originally from California, for God's sake.
Southern California. I could use about 5 different fireplaces in my house. One in the bathroom, living room, bedroom. It's cold out here.
Bathroom
We
fireplace.
can do
Yeah,
that.
why not?
When do you want to come in?
Have
When
you
I
ever-
sell my Portland house?
Really? It's not sold yet.
Not yet.
Jackie just got back. She had a tree fall on it.
Not on the house.
Okay.
Close to the house.
Nevertheless,
And-
There might be a listener interested right now.
Yes.
it's true.
If anyone's looking for a house in Southwest Portland, Hillsdale, send me a message.
should give you a heck of a deal, especially if you remove the tree.
Yeah.
I was just kidding. You
And
did
fix-
remove the
well,
tree.
I won't mention that part.
Fair enough. All right. So, talking more about fireplaces, first of all, this industry, how many? I mean, are there just a handful of suppliers, or I mean, are there stuff coming in from China? How does that work?
There's fewer than there used to be.
Okay.
At one time, it was a pretty vivacious industry when the housing market was strong throughout the 80s
Okay.
and early 90s. But then 2008 came along, and about 2/3 of the manufacturers went away.
Okay.
And it's a lot of small manufacturers relative to other industries.
Okay.
But recently, there have been a lot of new, exciting companies coming into the marketplace again,
Okay.
including from Europe and not so much Asia. I mean, there are some Asian products out there as well, but the biggest thing for those companies when they come to North America is they have to have their products tested and approved here, because there's a different set of standards
Mhm.
to have a product be approved for sale in the United States. So a lot of times people will think they'll see this cool product that they see in Sweden or something,
Mhm.
and it may or may not be available to sell here.
Mm.
We even have some manufacturers that are European that we sell that only certain models within their line are available in North America.
Interesting. So, what is, speaking, I assume it's European, but what is like the premium fireplace manufacturer? What is, for lack of a better term, the Cadillac of fireplaces?
What do you think, Bonnie?
In each category?
I suppose. It's like, in other words, so what is the highest quality, or is it purely a matter of aesthetics and function? Are they all pretty
that's
good?
the difficult part, just like a Cadillac or a
Mhm.
car,
Mm-hmm.
is that a lot of it is lifestyle oriented. So whereas one guy may think the Rolls Royce is the best car, another guy might think the Jaguar or the Ferrari is. So
Mhm.
so the person who loves a Focus fireplace, which is a beautiful fireplace made in France,
Mhm.
another person might think that's like a silly looking thing.
Fair.
So
Fair.
whereas we have a German product called Spartherm that's has a totally different look and feel, or in America we have a brand called Lopi out in Washington State that's a wonderful product, and a guy who's up in the cabin in northern Minnesota, that's his Cadillac.
Mhm. Fair point. All right.
Yeah.
So there is no dominant brand that has kind of a corner on, high end. Everybody's doing different styles, different looks, and things.
I think
Making it all
so.
the more important to work with professionals like yourself, I'm sure, who understand the rules of each of these
Mhm.
manufacturers.
And that's a good point too, in terms of working with a specialty company, is that there's a lot of products that may be okay to purchase in Georgia, but
Mhm.
cannot be purchased or installed here.
Oh, another aspect
Yeah.
to it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair
So
enough.
like in the gas business, there's a thing called vent free,
Okay.
which we would never want to do here. So there's products that have catalysts built into them, and they can burn gas cleanly without the use of any vent at all.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that product here is that a byproduct of combustion is water.
Okay.
And as it gets colder outside, so when it's 10 below zero, the air can hold like no water. The amount of water that the air can hold is nothing. So then when you burn this product, and you're going to want to burn it more when it's cold out,
Mhm.
it's going to create this moisture within your home and end up creating mold issues or rotting issues within the structure of your home. So that product, it may make sense to have that in Georgia or Tennessee, but not here.
Fair. Oh, again,
Know your codes.
that's good advice, especially in St. Louis Park. Sorry, I just can't help myself.
Okay, Greg, I want to know, did you have a bad experience there?
I had a terrible
Where does
experience
that
in St.
come
Louis
from?
Park. You could not give me property in St. Louis Park anymore. In fact, interestingly, I won't go into too many details, but I am in the process of starting a new business, not related to all of this, but something completely different. And the hub, the company that I'm working with, is in St. Louis Park. And I just discovered that the person in charge is none other than this individual whose initials are BH, who is a nightmare of a person who, like, literally, he's in charge of inspections. He drove me out of the city I had a property. It was 5,000 square feet. I ran afoul of this person, the chief of directions. Do you want to guess how many times I was inspected after that in the 8 months of build out? 42 times. Wow. He would walk into the building and send all of my contractors home and tell them that they will never get this project done. He really did. So I sold what I owned in St. Louis Park. I never went back. And now I'm not going to do this one business with this one business specifically because of them. So yeah, that was a painful, thanks for a painful walk down memory lane.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Let's talk more about styles of fireplaces. I have been seeing more and more of the hanging oval fireplaces in
The suspended.
suspended.
fireplace.
Tell us about that.
It all started, as far as I know, in the south of France in the 60s by Dominique Imbert,
Okay.
who passed away last year. And
He was an artist.
he was an artist, and he had a very diverse background, and decided that in the later part of his life that he enjoyed crafting metal fireplaces, and he did one, and then he got more orders, and it just grew out of that. And so he had this small little studio in the south of France, and that was in the 60s. It had a resurgence with the mid-century modern
Mhm.
craze
Mhm.
recently, and it's just kept going. And they're beautifully crafted. They're a piece of art in themselves,
Agreed.
whether they're burning or not.
Mhm.
And you're not limited by the wall structure. You can just add a fireplace. You don't have to have the construction team.
It's more of a piece
creating-
of furniture,
Mhm.
and it's a center piece for the home.
For the room. And many of them rotate 360 degrees. That's
Really?
kind of a fun.
So you can turn your fire in any direction you
Really?
want.
Oh, that's really, really, really cool. And the style, I mean, it lends itself to so many different styles too. I mean, it's not just mid-century. I mean, you can have modern.
Well, yeah,
you
you're
can
the
have-
designer. Yeah.
a variety. I mean, they're sculpture. They're burning sculpture. And if there are two things that people like, it's art and fire.
Fire. Yeah.
Which reminds me of our art
Art
ransom
ransom.
that we did one
That's
time.
right.
We talked about that, right? It's wonderful. So, okay, so we're talking again. So this is the suspended fireplace. And again, these are made by a bunch of different companies.
Mhm.
You said at this point?
A
Or is
few
it
Two,
different.
just two that
Two
we
different
and
companies.
we handle both of them.
Okay.
So Bordelais came around in the 80s. JC Bordelais came
Okay.
around in 1982 or something, and
Okay.
they're unique in that they have different
Finish.
finishes,
Mhm.
unique finishes like the zebra model and the,
Yes, we
And,
did. So we're cheating here. I have a catalog in front of me that I'm flipping through a little bit, and I'm going to ask you a couple questions, I suppose. But yes, so it's no longer traditionally these are black, right? But now zebras, lions, or tigers, rather, I guess. All these different
stainless steel, raw stainless steel, and
They're beautiful. They're-
anything you
they're
can think of.
Corten
absolutely-
steel. That's another thing.
Oh
that
yeah,
people
so
Really?
do.
Focus does offer
Yeah,
a
Focus offers a Corten
Corten.
model. Yep.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well,
Mhm.
that's probably really popular.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we don't see that more often in like restaurants and things like that, because that seems so perfect. Nevertheless, what about, and now there are also styles, you said those rotate, but there are 360-degree fireplaces as well.
Mhm.
Tell me a little bit about those.
Oh, the Agora Focus. We've
Mhm.
sold a number of those. They're particularly nice in a well, the people who have chosen them put them in a window, like a three-sided windowed space, great room looking out over the lake.
Really? Oh
Um,
God, that must be beautiful.
they're
There's
pretty.
another company in California called Malm.
Okay.
They have a model called the Spinifire, which is a 360-degree view fireplace too. And they've been around since the 1960s. A nice, fun company to just, you can call them and someone will answer the phone,
Yeah.
and they're kind of cool dudes, and they're really helpful all the time, and
Nice.
they'll finish things in any color you want. We just had a customer that did a lime green
Really?
Malm stove. But yeah, they're a great company to work with too.
That is wonderful. And again, in full disclosure, we are talking about possibly putting one of these in the District Edina lounge space and, possibly showroom, et cetera, where you can see things. But any way you look at it, the critical part I would think about these products is to see them in a catalog is nice, but to see them in person can be breathtaking, right?
I agree.
Yeah, totally. What about outdoor fireplace spaces? We touched on it a little bit, but what's going on there?
Well, since the
Pandemic.
everyone
All the
seems to
rage.
want to be in their yard. So yeah, there's a lot of fun outdoor products. People, again, gas is a really huge thing on the outdoor space side. And
Mhm.
a lot of the manufacturers are really pushing in product development right now for outdoor gas products.
Mhm.
And there's a huge variance in price, because you can have, and one of the biggest drivers of that is what type of control system does the fireplace have. So
Mhm.
there's very antiquated systems,
Mhm.
which are what they call match light, where you turn on the gas and then you just stick the match there, which,
And run like hell.
well, it works. There's nothing that breaks on it. And then there's other more automated systems, which
Mhm.
may or may not be reliable.
Okay.
So it tends to be the most reliable of the automated systems is what they call hot surface ignition,
Okay.
where it's like has a glow coil that gets hot and then that lights the fire, and it has a relighting capability where if the fire were to blow out, it would relight it automatically.
Really? But doesn't
Yeah.
it? So you've got the heating element, but you still need some moment of combustion, don't you?
Yes.
How does it provide that? Is it
It's
just a spark?
It's oxygen. It's that glow coil provides enough heat to get that fire started.
Really?
Yep. So it's just basically it's fuel, which is gas, and spark, which is that glow coil, and then oxygen. So if you have those three components, you'll have fire.
But people
Good to
have to
know.
keep the leaves out of them and cover.
Mhm.
Yep.
There's some maintenance
Well,
required.
and there's other
Yeah.
things too, as far as design. You have to have, people will want to do funny things with them, like put them into the ground. Oh, I look. Then
then it gets
water
wet.
will pour into that hole, and then
Ah.
it doesn't work so well when it's filled with water.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, water and fire. There's just something about them not working together.
Well, we do have a product that is water.
That's
Well, you're
very
saying
nice.
the vapor that runs through, right?
No, this is a company called HPC. They have a waterfall product that has fire that comes up through it.
Really?
They're really neat around pools.
Oh my
That's
god.
where we use them.
Have you done any of those projects in the area recently? What?
That's more of a special. We have not done like one.
Well,
of
the
Mhm.
lifetime
Mhm.
fitness guy.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Good for you.
So,
But what about? Yep.
Mhm.
What about other alternatives for outside? So that is gas based.
we have our favorite product at our house is by a company called Wittes. Niels Wittes he's a gentleman from Denmark who has a shop out in Pound Ridge, New York, and he imports products primarily from Europe. And he has a product called the Phoenix Grill,
Okay.
which is a Core-10 wood burning grill and fire pit. And
okay.
it's beautiful. It looks like a piece of art. It's tall and narrow, and it has this great chimney effect, and you can have fires in it. And the nice thing about the fires with this product is that you don't get all that smoke blowing back at you like you typically would with an outdoor fire, wood burning fire.
Good point.
And it has a little cooking surface that you can cook on it. So we like to cook steaks in the wintertime, ribeye steak on a nice hot griddle, and it's really awesome.
That's fabulous. I haven't done it in a few years, but I used to cook bread in a Dutch oven suspended over an outdoor fireplace for Thanksgiving and
No
such.
kidding.
It was always so good, but occasionally a couple years you'd burn the bottom because you let it, and then you kind of fall away from it. But it's amazing. I mean, you just get the little tripod
Mhm.
fireplace thing,
Mhm.
dangle it off the
Hang
top,
it.
and then for about, God, I think it cooks for about 2 hours actually.
No kidding.
Yeah, and you just soak it. And it gives you a chance to get away from the family and go outside. So I recommend it very, very highly.
And you always have one of these with you.
At least. Actually, I'm one of those guys who, like, my wife can't decide if it's pure loss of memory, which it probably is, or good planning. But I'm one of those guys who, like, will forget where he put his drink. So I'll just go and make another one. So as I wander from place to place, it's always a surprise. Oh, look, there's a cocktail.
We have another product where you can make bread in it.
Really?
A
Go
wood
on.
burning pizza oven.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, I've been seeing those now. Are those like the tabletop variety, or is there like a
Mhm.
whole?
It
Mhm.
can be on any surface. You can
Yep.
put it on any surface. It's light.
You see a lot of the little ones. We've kind of stayed away from those little ones, which you can buy at Target or,
Mhm.
and we have a nicer one but it still can sit right. We actually just purchased a glass table to put ours on at home,
Okay.
but you could put it on a wood surface, and they're so much fun.
Are they really? I
Mhm.
mean, is it
Easy to start. People think, oh,
Yeah.
it's wood. No, that starts really easily.
And is it just small pieces of wood that you
Yeah,
put in it, or
basically,
pellets?
it comes with this little stainless steel cradle.
Okay.
And I take regular pieces of wood and I chop it up into smaller pieces, and I just put 5 or 6 of those in there and get it started. Throw that in the back of the oven. In about 15 minutes, it's up to 600, 700 degrees, and you put your pizza in there, and you have a pizza in less than 3 or 4 minutes.
You
That's
you do have to watch it and turn it.
Mhm.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
like Pizza
There-
Lola
that's
in
the
your backyard.
cocktail.
I love
Sorry,
it.
Pizza Lola.
Pizza
Might
Lola.
not be as good as your pizza.
Nonsense. I'm sure it's delicious. Well, it's tough to compete, but that's funny because I've looked at them a million times. Because, as I like to say, pizza is the basis of my food pyramid. I eat
Well,
pizza
you're
probably 4
Italian.
times. Exactly.
So
exactly.
do you make your own dough?
I have. Usually, quite honestly, I'm just ordering out, or I have a soft spot in my heart, to be honest with you, for Heggie's pizza. Are you guys familiar with Heggie's?
Frozen? Is it
Yeah.
frozen?
Yeah, it's bar pizza.
Oh,
And just because when I first was introduced to it in Minnesota, I mean, literally the only place you used to be able to buy it get it was at bars.
Mhm.
And, at 3 a.m., there's nothing more delicious than a pizza. So Heggie's like imprinted on me that it's a great pizza. So now it is my official football frozen bar pizza.
Ah,
I know.
that's too bad. Have you had Savoy?
I have. Red
Okay.
Savoy is good. In fact, Savoy was one of the first pizzas that I had ever ordered when we moved to Minnesota, and it came cut into squares, as they do, which I had never in my life seen before. So I literally was going to call and complain and say, "What the hell did you do to my pizza? This is absurdity." But now I've grown to like Savoy's pizza pretty much, as long as I like pepperoni and sausage and onion Savoy, and just make sure they cut it as a pie.
Really? You tell them that?
I do. I
Wow.
do. It's
Tough customer.
I know. I probably get a decent amount of spit in my pizza, but nevertheless. So, all right. So I'm going to look into that without a doubt, because that is. I've
We
always
could
been
put one in
curious.
your back area here.
Can we?
Mhm.
Oh, I love it. We could set it up. And again, if you guys come in, we've got that whole beautiful patio space that I know.
All of your, tenants here would love it.
Well, I do have a pizza oven in the break room,
Oh, you do?
Yes. And I do generally lay in Haggie's pizzas around the place. So it's always an option.
Are they a sponsor of the podcast?
They aren't, but they should
Not
be.
yet.
Johnson, can you remind me to contact Haggie's Pizza Company? Agreed. Brought to you by Haggie's. Right? Seriously. All right. I like it, Bonnie. You're
Edit
thinking.
that out, maybe.
Yeah. I'll just do whoever gives us a sponsorship, Red Baron
Seventh Avenue
Pizza.
Pizza.
Which is the other thing. That's my other guilty pleasure is Stouffer's French bread pizzas. Do you remember those?
Mm.
So here's the thing. I'm a child of the 70s, right? And there were a lot of things about growing up in the 70s which were negative. But one thing that is nice is that was the era of boxed food and frozen food and all that
Yeah.
other stuff. So if I want to taste a cake just like Mama used to make, it's in aisle 3, Betty Crocker.
Yeah.
And it takes us right
Pizza
down.
rolls and
Oh, exactly.
remember those?
Totino's.
I want to ask you though also about the outdoor fireplaces. So gas burning is an option, but then there's propane, I assume, correct?
Propane, certainly, yeah. And the critical thing there is, what do I do with the tank?
Right.
And
Exactly.
a lot of the tables, which a lot of people who do outdoor gas and use a fire table, and some of
Mhm.
them have the ability to kind of conceal that 20-pound tank
right.
within the base of the fireplace.
And if not, I guess it's not that you were in the gas
Mhm.
business. It's generally not that hard to pipe gas
No.
out to your
No.
house, right? Because you just got to identify where it's coming into the house and then tap off of that.
Right.
And then
And it's safer too. So natural gas tends to be much safer than
Than
propane
propane?
gas. Yes.
Really?
Mhm.
That's not what King of the Hill taught me.
Well, propane gas is heavier than air.
Okay.
So if you ever have a leak or the
Yes.
gas is on, it accumulates within an area. So then if you get
Really?
that spark, that's
The
why you
whole
hear
thing
about these
gets lit.
cabins blowing up and stuff like that. Whereas natural gas is lighter than air and tends to dissipate into the atmosphere. So we also sell natural gas grills, which are a lot safer than a propane grill. So like if you should never put a propane grill on a wooden deck.
Okay. Good advice in general. I'd be concerned to put any kind of grill on a wooden deck.
Yeah.
But
Natural gas is, we even sell them to condominium owners,
okay.
and they're approved where the association has run a natural gas line out to that deck space because
Okay.
it's much safer than having a propane bomb sitting out on your wooden deck.
This is based. That is a good description. You're exactly right. And do they add any scent to the propane gas? Can you smell the propane, or is that also?
It's not like natural gas where it kind of has that
I
funny
don't
smell,
know.
doesn't it?
We don't have
You don't-
anything in
yeah.
our house. But
we
some
don't have
people
it.
in the rural areas have no choice.
Yeah. Propane is their only
Yeah.
option.
It's a fair point. And yeah, but if you do have a choice, you're going to lean towards natural gas if you
Yes.
can, because that does sound like an important safety feature. It occurs to me, we're sitting here, we're talking about all these different fireplace options. Do you guys have an Instagram account or something where people can take a
we
look at
do.
these? What is it?
All,
I know, right?
All,
Nobody knows what
all
Instagram is.
Seasons Fireplace, MN, I believe.
Is it place or just
All
fire?
Seasons Fireplace.
Okay.
I could look it up.
Okay, Jackie's on it, and then you have a website,
Bonnie's
of course.
great
Yep.
on her Instagram. She's very active.
We were just
My
talking
son
about
doesn't
that.
like it. I get too many pictures of him.
Really?
allseasonsfire.com
Allseasonsfire.com.
That's the
website. Yes, about website.
Yeah, which is fantastic. And you've got,
Oh, thank you.
is it a robust site? Can people see a lot of the product, or is it, I mean, obviously they should come into the showroom because then they can both, learn from you guys. And obviously, you know what you're talking about, but also see the product in person.
And
But-
there's some nice stories of nice installations.
Mhm.
Some of we didn't mention Element 4 has been one of our most successful European products.
What is Element 4?
And it's a gas fireplace from Belgium.
Okay.
It's multi-sided. It's got a beautiful burner. It's really realistic.
Yeah, they call it real fire burner, where the logs actually sit on top of a burner and the flames wrap around the log. So it looks more like a natural fire.
Really?
Yeah, the burners are like, instead of flat on the bottom of the fireplace, they're positioned like a log would be.
So the log appears
then-
to be actually, it's like a
Right.
ceramic log or something
Mhm.
along those lines?
Mhm.
Oh, fascinating. Well,
Well, we have a new one installed,
At the
No.
store. Yep.
a see-through one that's going
And
to
they
be
also have a
beautiful.
unique product called a sky product, which is different than a typical shape of a fireplace, where instead of being wide, it's actually tall and narrow. And it can actually be a room separator. So the fireplace is 26 inches wide and it's 80 inches tall.
Oh my God. Okay.
So it's very dramatic.
That is very dramatic. That's
Mhm.
biblical. And a giant wall of fire. Oh, that's fabulous. What else should people think about when they're looking at fireplaces and considering what type they want?
How you were going to use it,
Mhm.
how often you want to use it.
Do you want it for heat or do you want it for aesthetics?
Mhm.
So there's some products that are intentionally designed to be less efficient,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes people want a lot of fire, but they don't want to get cooked out of the space. So many of these fireplaces are very, very efficient, and they're designed to heat an area of 2,000 square feet or more,
Mm-hmm.
but not everyone wants that. So we have a brand that we carry called Town and Country.
Okay.
It's a really wonderful product. And I actually think their original concept was the most unique and most
Innovative.
innovative product that I was ever introduced to. So when they came to be, they said, okay, we see that gas fireplaces are great.
Mm-hmm.
They're very efficient, they're very reliable, but ultimately they don't look anything like a real fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
And so Town and Country said, we're going to develop a product that looks like a fireplace should look. So they went through a long process and they developed this product that's based on a design called the Rumford fireplace. I don't know if you've heard the term Rumford,
Not.
but Rumford fireplaces have been around since the 1700s. There was actually a count in England named Count Rumford, who was also an engineer. And back then they used fireplaces as a source of heat. And he's determined that this shape of fireplace, which is very shallow and canted, and it would pull the smoke up through the chimney more efficiently and push the heat out into the room.
Okay.
But it was, so they use that original Rumford design. So architects, designers, they love it because it's based on this historic fireplace design. And the fireplace is designed to give a lot of flame. That's what people want,
Mm-hmm.
and a comfortable amount of heat. Not everyone wants to have this 80% efficient product that's going to make you sweat and have to leave the room. So this product's designed to be more in the 40 to 50% efficient range.
Is it adjustable in any way, or
Well,
is
certainly,
it?
yeah, you can adjust the flame up and down, but it's only radiant heat. So most gas fireplaces give you radiant heat, which is the heat that comes off of the glass. It's like the heat from the sun.
Right.
That's what we all crave in the wintertime, is that
Mhm.
we don't have enough sun and we want to have that warmth from the sun. And then there's what they call convective heat. So there's this chamber that pulls the room air from underneath, the cool air, and as it gets heated up, comes out the top. So this product doesn't have any convective heat. It only has that radiant heat.
Interesting.
And it's a wonderful product.
That's
Yeah.
that's-
It also sits on the floor.
Yeah.
okay.
Versus some of them that have this
Yeah, a lot of them-
space,
In
you know,
between.
the hearth.
the suspended
Yep.
type of thing.
Yeah, a lot of times they mount the controls below the glass. This product actually brings the glass right down to the hearth level. So it looks like you can walk right into the fireplace, just like you would with a wood burning fire.
There's so many cool things is out there. Your showroom must be just absolutely wonderful to just wander around.
It's important to
in.
come into the showroom. Some people this day and age want to buy over the phone or
You could do
on the
everything.
internet. It just
Mhm.
you need to understand what you're buying. And we encourage people to come in for that reason. Yeah.
Unquestionably so. And by the way, we didn't give out your address. We should make sure we give your address out too.
6801 Wayzata Boulevard
Yes.
in St. Louis Park.
As we like to say, right across from Menards.
No, next to the Lincoln dealership.
There you go. The new Lincoln dealership, which is
Oh, and not
actually
too far
quite
from
nice.
Ferrari. down the
I
road.
know.
That's a ways away, buddy. Come on.
Still, you might
Just
as well
a
get
little
a fireplace
Polad
and a
plug.
Ferrari.
Never hurts.
Did you know, by the way, totally off target, or off discussion point, but did you know that you cannot buy a Ferrari unless you've already owned a Ferrari?
No.
At any price, they will not allow you to buy a Ferrari unless you can show proof of having bought one previously.
How do they ever get new customers?
They're Ferrari. So you got to buy a used Ferrari. And
Oh.
then once you've worked out, I mean, it kind of makes sense because I would assume it's very easy to destroy a Ferrari if you don't know what you're doing. So it would probably be an absolute disaster. But yes, Mario Montanez downstairs, a title specialist. He's got an Audi R8. He's got all these gorgeous sports cars. And he was furious that he could not buy a Ferrari. They would not let him at any price.
Well, at Amelia Island, we saw one for $70 million.
Oh my God. Are you kidding?
Ferrari.
Oh my God. Going to Target
was
would just be a
used, so
whole new
anyone
was
could
experience.
buy it for 70 million.
If you're a good negotiator, you can probably get a couple $1 million knocked off the top and buy a house. That's madness, but still. Well, the showroom is obviously open Monday to Friday. I
Monday
should
through
say.
Saturday.
Okay.
And we're open till 5 during the week and 3 on Saturdays.
3 on Saturdays. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit more if we can, though.
I have some questions.
Oh,
yeah.
Over
Yes.
here.
All right.
Hi, guys. If you have a wood burning fireplace with a chimney, how often do you need to get your chimney swept?
If you're using your fireplace, you should have it cleaned and inspected annually
And
by
what
a
if you
certified
don't?
chimney sweep. So then you have the potential of having a chimney fire, which we had a neighbor who had a chimney fire, and it's not something you want to ever
Happen.
experience.
Is it the fire, the smoke? backs
Fire
up,
can the fire can burn for days and days, and the fire department may or may not be able to put it out.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
so if
kinda
you get that
scary.
creosote buildup in your chimney, it can be a really bad deal.
Interesting. Do the I've seen the little wood burning they supposedly clean your flue.
Professional-
Do anything at all?
Professionally
no.
clean.
Is the way. All right. Funny side story.
So, second
That is
question.
wait. No. First, I got to
Okay.
tell my funny chimney sweep story.
Okay.
I called a company a number of years back to come and sweep the chimney because
Mhm.
I had no idea it was a new house that it had been there and things. And it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life. The doorbell rings. I open it. Here's this teenager. He's got the acne. He's wearing a top hat and a coat with tails. And he has to actually say to me, he goes, "Here to sweep your chimney, Governor." Started laughing. I couldn't help it. But anyway, Jackie, you had another question.
Oh, do you recommend those inserts, like fireplace inserts?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So if you have a wood burning fireplace, but for me, it makes too much of a mess. I
Mhm.
like the crackling
So
and everything,
with-
but
So
It's messy.
yes, to answer your question, yes, and there are both what they call wood burning inserts and gas burning inserts.
Okay.
So a wood burning insert will make a open fireplace, which tends to be very inefficient, much more heat efficient. So a old fashioned open wood burning fireplace tends to be minimal to negative in its overall heat efficiency. So on a
Mhm.
day where it's 10 below zero, while you might be feeling some warmth sitting in front of that fire, it's actually taking more heat out of the house than what it's producing. So it's
Mhm.
taking that area your furnace is already heated and exhausting it out through the chimney. Whereas if you were to put in a wood burning insert, it's a sealed system. It's going to burn much more heat efficient. It's going to produce about 75% of the BTUs it produces are usable heat for their space.
Okay.
Or gas is the other thing, which is that's kind of our bread and butter, our gas inserts.
Mhm.
Okay.
That uses all outside air. So it has 2 liners that go up through your chimney, one for intake, one for exhaust, and that will be about 80% efficient. So 80% of the BTUs it's burning are usable heat for the space.
And we're talking about, when we talk inserts, we're talking about like basically the back. It goes on the back
It's a
or the
sealed
front.
box that slides
Goes
right into
the
that opening.
firebox
Yep.
opening.
Really?
Mhm.
Do they have to be custom, or I mean, do they come in standard sizes?
Standard
Well,
size.
standard sizes, but then there's a trim piece that's where we can customize. So there's a trim that's designed to cover the remainder of the opening.
Okay.
There's several sizes of the insert. So there's one that will most likely fit best for your opening dimension, but then the remainder is covered by a trim. So you can either just use a standard size trim,
Mhm.
or if you want it, or your application calls for it, we can customize that trim so that it looks like it's
So there's
more-
no trim at all. Sometimes it looks like it's just the
The
fireplace.
fireplace.
Mhm.
Well, that's really interesting. And then how do you guys do that? Do you go out to the client's house? Do you
Yep,
measure?
I go out and take measurements and custom fabricate that trim and have it
Okay.
made for their opening.
Do you personally?
Joe
Mhm.
is the
Yeah.
guy.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Mhm.
So you're a master of gas and boxes.
Yeah.
Is the size of it? Fair
Sometimes
enough.
it takes 2 or 3
It's
tries.
It's
but-
a mess. It's a mystery. Not everyone can do it. Only Joe.
I can only imagine there's always details to something like
Yeah.
that probably are a matter of experience that you have to develop.
Yep.
So let me ask you, so ideally, what is your ideal fireplace configuration? And again, I know that it
Mm.
depends on the space and the use and things, but there has to be one that, that speaks to you, a product that you just absolutely love.
Well, we still have wood burning in our old house. We love it.
Do you?
We had family over this
Yeah.
winter for Christmas, and they have a gas one that we sold them, and they love, but they love our wood too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I could
Yeah, I
go
mean-
to gas. Gas maybe in the bedroom or the bathroom
Mhm.
or the kitchen.
The current product that I really, really love is the Spartherm line. I don't know if you have
Yeah,
a
here it is.
brochure. That's their stove. So they have wonderful stoves, and they have these awesome fireplaces. So if you have a space where you don't have a fireplace now, they have a fireplace that will fit in there, will go there, and it uses what they call a guillotine style door.
Oh, that sounds charming.
So the door, instead of opening up into the room, will slide up
Slides
into
up.
the wall. So
Okay.
you can burn it open if you want to have that open experience,
Okay.
or you can burn it
Okay.
closed.
That's not terribly efficient, though. They
Yeah.
don't. They discourage that.
They prefer that you burn
Yeah.
it closed.
Just to be
it's
clear.
and they have
Sure.
multi-sided options.
Okay.
So you can have a corner fireplace or a 3-sided fireplace, and it's made in Germany, and it's really and their stoves are like the best. So their stoves use this modular system where you can create your own base or use one of their bases to set the stove on, and it's like a cube, but
It's very popular right now.
it's super popular.
It's
Simple,
usually
clean,
Simple, yeah.
and it burns really, really well.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Mhm.
You should have one.
I'm going to look into it.
Greg,
I love
it's
fireplaces.
perfect for you.
Well, then we will talk about it. Let's just see if maybe there's more
We've got
revenue.
3 or 4 that we can sell them now.
What about this? And we're running out of time, and I'm aware of that. Johnson is
Oh,
giving
yeah?
me my little cues here and there. But oh crap, I forgot my question. What was my question that I was running through? I know I lost my train of thought completely. Jackie, do you remember my question?
I can't read your mind.
Not
No.
yet, anyway.
Not yet. Getting closer.
It's basically just the Looney Tunes song going over and over again. You'll be deeply, deeply frustrated. From a construction perspective.
Oh, okay.
So builders often, I mean, they're going to default, usually in my experience, to just a standard fireplace, right? So if you are building a house or doing a remodel, would I be correct in assuming that it would be worthwhile for the person who's doing that to come in and take a look at options
Oh my God, yes.
and then go back to the builder, correct?
Yes. There are so many fireplaces that are out there that are put into this beautiful mantle, beautiful stone, and the fireplace is a piece of not good.
Yeah, no,
and
it's
it's
true.
there forever unless you pull that beautiful stone off,
off,
that beautiful
yeah.
mantle off, and it's just a crime.
Yeah, because people don't think about it. You just assume, and by the time you realize there were options, you're in retrofit territory, which is going to cost you a ton more. But it's a lot like, and not to in any way pick on builders or architects, but it's a lot like the furniture aspect. They don't think about that. It simply doesn't register. They don't know the options, sectionals, sofas, whatever. The same is probably true of the building or the fireplace industry.
Yep. We like to think of it as a design element.
Mhm.
And unless people think of it that way, even designers now are learning about them. And once they see,
Exactly.
they love it.
Exactly. I mean, to be able to go in and offer that type of add-on as a designer, and obviously, habitation is going to be working with you guys quite a bit, I think, going forward, regardless of being in the district or not, because I never realized how many options there are and how much fun. I mean, this is the kind of thing that gets designers excited because you can build all the way around this type of a thing, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, it's fabulous. All right. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen, as I wave at the camera. We have drunk our way through yet another episode of Drink in the Style. Jackie, thank you for coming in and mixing. You did a wonderful job.
Thanks for having me back.
Thank
I thought I
you,
got
Jackie.
fired last time. I was laughing too much.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't do that to you this
No.
time.
No.
I'll come up with a way.
I was
next time.
suspended for a while.
You're double secret probation. Thank you for mixing again. Bonnie, Johnny, you guys are absolutely fabulous. We are excited as can possibly be to be working with you going forward. And on behalf of Habitation Furnishing and Design, as well as the district at Edina, I would like to wish everybody good luck this coming week. And I will finish out with a quote from Andrew Carnegie. Where there is no humor, there is no success. Good luck, everybody.
Hear, hear. Thank you, Greg.
Happy New Year.
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year.
Ah. Excellent. See. All right. What do you think?
Cut.
What's that cut?
We didn't have any of those things. We needed the.
Nobody won.
You need one of those things.
Oh, yeah.